Good afternoon, everybody. Alex StarCraft here, very excited to be bringing you guys another StarCraft 2 commentary. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat why I am so excited. Because I am wearing my brand new Day 9 t-shirt that I got as a late Christmas present from my oh-so-wonderful girlfriend. And now I'm going to be casting a game on my first non-ladder map. It's a GSL map. GSL is a big Korean tournament. It's called, I believe, Terminus RE, or maybe it's just Terminus, I'm not sure. Either way, as you can see, this is a huge macro map. For those of you that are not familiar with it, you essentially will have the main base, and then a ramp leading down to your natural, and then a ramp leading down to a third, which does have destructible debris, and then a fourth sitting right outside of your base. And so this game is going to be a zerg versus zerg between BLY, I guess I'll call him. I'll just call him BLY. I do not know much about this player. I do know these replays are, I believe, from the Zotac comp. And Empire's viOLet. Now, some of you might remember viOLet from a previous replay of mine, a game versus Goody. And he is a very good Zerg player, and actually is the 25th, so 4 days ago, he actually joined Team Empire. So it's a very recent occurrence. And hopefully he'll be very successful on this in this map, I'm sorry. And so anyway, I am excited to be bringing you guys this commentary because even though it is a GSL map and I do not totally know it, because I'm wearing my Day 9 t-shirt, I'm basically going to be the best caster ever. I'm going to be a better gamer. So, I hope I can do the Zerg versus Zerg justice. And right now, we do see identical builds coming out from both players, both throwing down the hatchery at almost exactly the same time. And then we have viOLet choosing to get a extractor, I should say, a little bit before his opponent, but you can see they both have equal amount of drones, and they both have the same things in the production tab. They have figured out where each other is. I believe viOLet saw. Yes, he did see. No, wrong person. Yes, viOLet did indeed see the hatchery, so he knows where it is. Both of them have their pools on the way. So based off the look of this, it's going to be a Ling Baneling kind of opener or a Speedling opener. Of course, that's why they would have the gas. I wouldn't anticipate either of them skipping up to Roaches because while Roaches are very good, it can be very difficult, especially to defend your expansion with this wide choke with just Roaches against a very fast Ling army. And I was just laughing because I just looked down at BLY's hotkeys. And he has his hotkey set up his one hatchery set to like 8 of the keys, and then an overlord set to the other 3. And I guess 5 is his primary hatchery hotkey. You can see that's where he's hotkeyed the second hatchery as well. And just a funny little thing there. I will see some players do that sometimes. I know we have viOLet actually hotkeying his 2 hatcheries to 6, so he must have some huge hands. I don't know quite how he can do that. I can really only go up to like 5, and then I can't even function anymore because I'm not that good at this game. And so we do the completely identical build up until one point, which I'll discuss in a second. Same Zergling speed, both got their queens out at the same time. Now we do have a spine crawler coming down from viOLet in this front, and a slightly later Baneling nest than BLY has. And so what this is kind of indicative of is that, ooh, don't lose the drone. What this is indicative of is the fact that he might want to go for a bit more macro heavy play. And viOLet is indeed going to get a Ling in here. He's going to scout everything that's going around out here. And BLY, actually, I do not believe managed to see much of the main. No, he did not, just because he chose to try and pick off a drone with those Zerglings, almost getting it, while viOLet decided to scout. And you see that the Zergling still running around in here, seeing the completed Baneling nest. And now we do have a lot of Zerglings on the way from BLY, and he will have to do some damage with these because we can see viOLet, as I said, he did plant down that spine crawler, which would give him more defense. As a result, he's been able to drone up a little bit more, but he doesn't have as many units on the field, and so that is why BLY's going to have to be able to do some damage with this attack, just because he is behind on the drones. He spent a lot of larva getting all of these units, and he needs to make sure that it can pay off. So we do have about, what is that, 7-8 Banelings moving out right now. He's you can see he's splitting them all up in groups of 2. The reason he's doing this is because it takes 2 Banelings to kill a Baneling. So if you break your banelings up into groups of 2, obviously they can do a lot of damage to zerglings, but say viOLet's banelings were all bunched up, these first 2 banelings could kill all of them. Of course, viOLet too smart for that. He has his banelings all split up, getting another spine as well as the evolution chamber to do some defense, and he's doing a very good job managing his banelings. Trades 4 for 4 right there. The spine crawler is going to get focused down by the zerglings, but BLY does manage to get the advantage. The zerglings running into the mineral line. viOLet doesn't really have many more units. You see 10 zerglings in the production tab, but some pretty big baneling hits going off right there, killing probably about 10 drones, another 3 right there. And it looks like viOLet is going to be able to hold this. He does have a whole bunch of lings coming back on the way, and he does have the spine crawler, which of course only has 2 kills, but is a significant threat when you're just building zerglings. And so I'm sure this build will get, or this zerglings will get cleaned up. So he killed 8 workers, so not quite as many as I thought. Oh, apparently there's a bit of a pausing there. As I was saying, viOLet actually didn't lose as many zerglings as I thought he did, or as many drones as I thought he did. So you can see BLY did manage to take a slight advantage right now in the workers. Now viOLet does indeed have his lair a little bit faster, and BLY throwing down the 2 spine crawlers, just making sure he doesn't have to worry about the counterattack, but he might have to worry about the zergling run by into his main. They're going to try and get the queen, but the queen getting some good positioning. So no, the zerglings are not going to be able to kill that all. For those of you that didn't know what BLY did there, oh wow, these banelings, no, one's going to go down. He does kill 3 zerglings, so not bad. And we've got another 2. Looks like one's going to make it in, but the one baneling by itself, you see, it can't actually kill anything. So anyway, what I was saying the queen was doing is if you get right there, because the zerglings can't get the surround, they can only attack from this small surface area, they don't do nearly as much damage. So that's just a nice little trick to do. You do it with, you know, almost any unit. You'll see a lot of people, if someone's dropping, they'll put the marines like in here where the zerglings can't get a surround, they can't get as much surface area. And again, we still see the identical builds going down from both of these players. We see the spires, one's about 15 seconds ahead of the other, but both of them have started breaking down the rocks. Now, of course, those rocks with the 3 armor, when the zerglings only do 5 damage, going to take quite a while. Of course, it looks like viOLet's third base is going to be a little bit ahead. We see, while viOLet, he's getting a spire, an infestation pit, and a roach warren. BLY is getting a spire and an evolution chamber. So I'll have to see where this goes. Oh wow, viOLet actually choosing to cancel his what do you call it, his spire. Now I'm not sure if BLY, did he actually scout that? No, he did not. So I wonder what caused viOLet to do that. Now of course roach infestor with some hydras is a pretty good counter to mutalisk play, just because the infestors, of course, they can get off the fungal growths on the mutalisk. That can be very good if you do manage to get one off. You can really kill all of them for almost nothing. And he does have a very good pseudo wall up at the front here, just constricting the movement of all the banelings and whatnot. I'm not sure if this is actually how can I rotate? I'm not sure if this is actually a full wall. Can I rotate? How do you do this? I don't think that is a full wall, but it might be. Hard to say. We do have, oh wow, BLY actually going for the double expansion there. So we see he is currently ahead by about 10 drones. But I would say right now, viOLet does have the tech advantage just because he has 6 infestors on the way. That's huge. Of course, the pathogen glands as well. We have GG Orc leaving the game. So clearly, he has some premonition of who is going to win the game far before any of us do. And so now BLY has revealed his mutalisk. They are going to be picking off an overlord, picking off a baneling. And viOLet immediately has to take all of his overlords, try and consolidate them. And let's see if he can get some fungals. All the infestors getting trapped. He does manage to get some pretty good fungals off. Now, if he can just manage to chain these, oh wow, but he did lose a lot of the infestors. But he is doing some pretty good damage. You see, with those fungal growths getting him down, the spore crawler and the queen can do a lot of damage. So wow, actually managing to pick off every single mutalisk. So we see they're actually almost exactly even in the resources lost tab, just because that was about 6 infestors traded for about 11 mutas. The thing being that BLY is actually ahead on expansions right now. This does give him an advantage. He does have more drones by about 10, and he shouldn't be producing too many more. He's pretty optimally saturated. We do have some more mutalisk harass going down here. Now, unfortunately, or luckily I should say for viOLet, this one queen can really handle the 3 mutas more or less by itself. And we do see the roach warren going down from BLY, and that's just kind of because You can get Mutalisk. Mutalisk can be really good for getting the map control, doing some harass, stuff like that. But in the end, almost every single Zerg versus Zerg comes down to Roach Infestor with some Hydras mixed in, which viOLet is getting. This is both a good counter to the Mutas, and it adds some extra DPS with your Roach army. And the reason it just kind of comes down to Roaches is because almost no matter how many Mutas you have, unless you manage to get an insane amount, but in that case your opponent's doing something wrong, the Roaches with all their armor, the Mutas just don't do a whole lot of damage to them. You see they have 145 health with 1 armor. Where those Mutas go? The Mutas do 10 damage minus 1, so that'd be 9 damage. So it takes a single Muta about, with a weapon speed of 1.52, so it would take a single Muta like more than 15 seconds to kill a single Roach. Now that is a lot of time, so that is why you really need to get Roaches, because if he just pushed out with this army, those Mutas couldn't help him out, so he does need to have another form of defense. It looks like he is going to be getting this Overlord right here, but I really hope that viOLet does expand soon. He has been falling a little bit behind, little by little, in the economy and just in general, because his opponent does have this slightly greater economy. He has this extra base, and he still has about those 10 workers more, and you can see that starting to be reflected in the supply, just because, oh, my friend had a request. Where is this thing? Name panel. I think this is a nice little thing to have up in replays, just because it can easily show you guys the where they are in terms of food, how they compare to each other, which of course that is one of the leading indicators of how a game is going, especially it can be in like a Zerg versus Zerg, but of course tech. Oh wow, beautiful fungal going off from BLY right there. Is he going to try and chain? It looks like a lot of fungals going down from both players. It looks like if he can manage to chain this last one, that would make a huge difference. Spewing down a lot of infested Terran, and it looks like this is not going too well for viOLet, but he is going to be able to push their forces back. I was just thinking he was not going that well because his engagement position was not very good. He does manage to pick off an Infestor. Looks like he has these Roaches targeted to try and pick off some more. He does manage to get a second one. That one is so close to dying. We just have a whole lot of infested Terran going down. He does manage to get a second one. And now we just have a whole bunch of infested Terran going down, just kind of dueling each other for the very limited time before they kill themselves, because yes, infested Terran actually do kill themselves. We can go ahead and watch this guy right here. See, as soon as he times out, you might get the chance to see him do it, and yeah, you guys could maybe see what they actually almost do is they put a gun to their head essentially, and they do kill themselves because they would rather be dead than fighting for the swarm that they hate so much. But that battle, I think it was a fairly even exchange. Let's take a look at the units lost tab. We can see BLY did lose a little bit more in that engagement, but again, we see that economy just kicking in. BLY is about 50 supply ahead of viOLet right now, just because he's constantly up by about 500 and 300 on the resources, or the income tab. So we can see he has about 20 more Roaches as well as 4 more Infestors. So again, viOLet just really needs to get something going or get a great engagement. Now let's take a look at the upgrades. BLY has the +2 attack, while viOLet does as well, so they are even in that. So really in these battles, it's going to come down to positioning and micro, and viOLet is going to need to do a great job just because he does not have the economy that BLY does. And BLY, he's splitting his Roaches there, very good job, and of course, if he did manage to engage here, he would have great positioning. And so that is why I'm sure neither of them will engage there, just because neither of them will want to. We do see BLY pushing in. He does manage to get in a good bit, forcing the engagement, and some big fungals going off. I'd see some better ones from viOLet just because his units are so trapped up, and we have to see, are these Hydras going to be able to do some work? And it looks like they are going to make a difference in the battle. Yes, it looks like viOLet is going to come out ahead. We see BLY spewing out a whole bunch of infested Terran, but at this point those are not going to do great. viOLet is just doing a really good job fungaling all of these units, and it looks like he will come out ahead, but perhaps not. It looks like the Hydras are going down too quickly. And so, once again, I think they're about even in that exchange right there. We do see a huge amount of Roaches from each player on the way in the production tab. But again, viOLet just does not have that extra base. And at this point, you can really see he's behind by about 40 supply. And BLY as well does have this 5th base up and running. So it's currently about to be a 5-base Zerg versus a 3-base Zerg. And we also have a whole bunch of spine crawlers being built. And this guy's is not looking too good for BLY. You can see his army is just much, much smaller. And he's going to need some sort of a miracle if he really wants to come back in this game. Not quite a miracle yet, but we're getting to that point pretty soon. And we see both players just kind of sticking with the same tech. viOLet trying to get a good engagement position, but that is actually a terrible one. BLY is a much better concave. You see all the roaches from viOLet going down. BLY's the upgrade advantage. He's more infestors. He has a better economy, and I just really don't think viOLet's going to be able to hold it at all. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull drones soon. But there's the GG. And really, again, in that game, I think it just came down to the economy, because you could see both players are going almost the exact same build. They had almost the exact same tech. BLY did go for the mutas before going for the infestors and roaches, but it didn't do a whole lot of damage. They are about even headed in, but then he just had this extra expansion the whole time. You can see looking at the end here, he was about 400 minerals ahead in the income and about 300 gas. And over the course of, let's see, how long did he have that base for? Let's say he had it for about 9 minutes. So that's about an extra 5,000 resources he can put into his army and the minerals. So that's probably, I mean, 5,000 resources, that's like 50 roaches. So I think the economy is really what turns the tide in this battle. And I hope all of you guys enjoyed my cast. I hope that I continue to enjoy this day 9 t-shirt as much as I am currently. And I hope all of you guys have a fantastic, wonderful, and hugely enjoyable remainder of your afternoon and the hours after that until I see you guys again tomorrow.